Go ahead.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Not a Trekkie, an all Star Wars Everything podcast brought to you by Red Cyclone Inc. Everything from New Hope to Rogue One, even that Solo one, from Anakin and Obi-Wan to Rey left being the only one. Now, I cannot stress this anymore. There is no hate. But this ain't Stargate, this ain't Star Trek, this is Star Wars. I'm your host, Tenacious T. My co-host for the Not a Trekkie podcast, the Merc with the Mic.
What is going on, everybody? We are back with another Trekkie. This is a shoot the shit episode of everything we have watched so far.
So, if you have not caught up with us, we literally just went through every single movie in the cinematic Star Wars universe.
Except for Clone Wars, which is considered a separate universe. So,
well, yeah. Well,
I
don't know. I haven't seen that, so
some
I
people
no.
like to take it technically. So technically, we did not review one, which is part of the Clone Wars movies. Clone Wars cartoon series. So we didn't watch that movie.
That don't count in my book, man. It has to be live action.
Action movies. There we go. We got it clear.
Live action cinematic universe of Star Wars.
So we watched them all. We watched them all throughout the quarantine time, which is funny too. Yeah.
Definitely did. I know. I think we started a little bit before that, but yeah.
Yeah, I think we started February of last year.
Yeah. Somewhere around there.
So,
I don't know. It's been a journey. It's been a journey into far, far out of space.
Yeah. Far, far out of space, and we went through all the single movies. We have a surprising new number one, which I think deserves that spot. To be honest with you, going through these movies again, I found a new love for it more than anything when I did watch it for our cast, which was Rogue One.
Yeah, I agree, and I've been biased, throughout the whole process of being part of being the fan that I am, that Empire Strikes Back has been the reigning champion. But if you really dive down into the Rogue One story, the way it was filmed, acted, and everything like that, it really truly deserves its spot. And I know a lot of people out there might not agree with that, and that's fine. But I suggest you go back and rewatch that with fresh eyes.
Yeah, I say go back and rewatch, and just just brand new eyes in general. Like I kind of watch this series and try to just not. I try to watch the series without feeling what I felt when I first watched it. That was the way I went into these movies. Is I got to take away my negativity from the movies that I watched already. They came back after I watched it.
Of course. Well, we're technically being like critics. You know what I mean? We're discussing how we feel about our experience watching the movies.
Yeah, so that's one thing I did in the beginning of this cast when we started really talking about doing a Star Wars podcast was, all right, I got to rewatch these. I got to watch it in fresh eyes, because if I don't watch it in fresh eyes, I'm still going to have the negative thoughts of the movies that I just did not like. And some of them are the classic ones that a lot of people love, and some of them are not. But there's just a lot of things I just didn't care for. And but there was a lot of good things as well. I have more of a positive view on these movies than a negative. But there's just some things that just don't have to be there.
I feel some of the negative stuff that we have witnessed and seen in these movies is a lot of it are victim of their time. You know what I mean? Like a lot, like with the prequels. You know what I mean? Like the CG, the prequels, the overly, the colors, they kind of, they are a victim of the late '90s, early 2000s. You know what I mean? And maybe the story here and there could be tweaked, but for what they tried to do, they were very successful.
Yeah, well, if you're gonna go by bank wise, they were 100% successful, because again,
well, anything that's stamped with a Star Wars name on it, you know what I mean, is going to make some money.
But what they're like successful in the hearts of fans and stuff like that, it'd be a big mix of sorts.
Well, there's some people out there that don't know what the Lucas, that never, grew up with having seen, the first three without the Lucas cut. So some of them don't even know what that world is like.
Yeah.
For everybody who watched it what, post like 96, pre 96, pre 97.
Yeah.
The lead up into the new trilogy that was dropping at that time. All the hardcore diehard fans were like, "What the hell is that crap?"
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
I hate it. I have the original cuts actually in the VHS. I think I have.
I do as well.
I think I had the DVDs, and that was right before they started re-releasing them in theaters.
My friend Mike Wazowski, shouts out to him. He's the guy who forcefully put me onto Star Wars, because if you've been listening to our casts, I've repeatedly always mentioned the fact that I did not grow up watching Star Wars. I've seen them.
Yeah.
I've seen them. But it was always I just never cared about it. You know what I mean? But he told me the last time I went to go see him is that somebody actually scene by scene took out all the Lucas cut. Like they did a fan did it, took all the Lucas cut and actually put it into Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Which must have taken hours and hours and hours.
It sounds like too much work.
Yeah, but but the thing is, there's fans out there that are, that was their life's goal right there. You know what I mean? Like that was their contribution to that world and to that universe and to that fan base.
Yeah.
So
we went through 11 movies throughout the pandemic, which kind of we started right before the pandemic, but it was like the early stages of the pandemic. Then we got locked down, and then we started recording over online like we've been doing now. So we found new ways to podcast and get these casts to you and all that stuff. But yeah, so we rewatched it. We started with the original trilogy, then we did the prequels, then we did the Disney, and then we did the Star Wars stories.
We also did Spaceballs.
Yeah, no, we also did the parodies.
And we did the parodies, yes.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
So we did the parodies.
Which was Robot Chicken, and we did, a whole episode on Family Guy?
Yeah.
So technically, we did it a couple of months before the pandemic started. Mm-hmm. Which was fine. What else are you doing when you're on lockdown and you're sitting at home? Yeah. Might as well go down the lines. Like, if there's not a perfect thing to start watching if you've never seen it, I think Star Wars is a good go.
Especially
that and maybe the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially having only Disney Plus.
Yeah, because Disney Plus came out that November.
Yeah, exactly.
And we had it for free because I was a Verizon. And they never turned it off. I think it's part of my bill now.
Yeah, that's how my Netflix is.
But I've never seen a change in my account.
It's like you won't. It's probably a small price. I think they probably charge you like $6 for it.
Yeah, well, it's worth it. I'm believe it or not, I actually use it pretty often.
Yeah, I have mines with Hulu. I have the Hulu Disney ESPN pack.
Well, just the Mandalorian alone and all the stuff that the Marvel Cinematic Universe isn't doing, what they're doing, it's worth it.
No,
if you're into that, it's worth every single penny to buy.
Yeah, I have.
And I do suggest you do that package that you did if you're into sports and Hulu and stuff like that.
It's $12.99 for all three, and you get Hulu, and Hulu is amazing. So definitely check those out. So 11 movies. Went through the original ones first. New Hope is still. I still have a lot of love for New Hope. I think it's a fun movie. I think it's a movie that it could be watched in many generations and still be loved. So,
the fact that it was supposed to be a one and done, I found out because that's something that I didn't know. And as I'm going, I'm learning the history and stuff like that. And he never even thought that it would ever reach a sequel, but because of the fans around the world and the humongous success, because of what it was in 1,100 theaters in the beginning.
Yeah, and
then it blew up. And hell yeah, I mean, but then again, back then that was their only option of going to see.
Yeah, you can't even watch it at home at the time because Betamax wasn't even out yet, and then if you wanted to watch something at home, you had to record it on Fun TV, or you're waiting maybe 6 years for it to come out.
They're sitting and watching MASH.
No, because it eventually go on TV, but it would be 10 years later.
Yeah, on I mean, that's how I was watching stuff as a kid.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Like, still up until the 90s, they were doing that. You know, like, remember, like, Dinner in a Movie?
Yeah.
On, like, TBS or something like
Yeah.
that? Like, I have very fond memories of those times.
Yeah.
And I actually do recall them playing the Star Wars movies like that.
I remember Spike usually had, like, had them, like, a marathon all the time. Spike TV. They usually did a Star Wars marathon like every May and shit.
It's crazy because like nowadays TV is starting to become more obsolete.
Yeah, because streaming services are taking over, and it's a bit more easier access with the streaming service than it is on TV.
Yeah, I'll take a 30-second I'll take a 20-second commercial over 5 commercials in a row.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I'll do that any day.
Yeah. So again, we started off with new Star Wars: A New Hope. Still have a lot of fond memories with that movie. That's still in my top 5. I think it was what it was, what had it to be, and it started a big ass franchise. So I still have a lot of love for that movie.
It holds up really well too for 1977.
Yeah, I think it has enough fun moments and a lot of like those adrenaline moments that keep you interested in the movie.
Like your imagination can take you into space and think that's what space is. You know what I mean? Like fighter pilots, like though they weren't aged. We never saw stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like still to this day we don't have stuff like that. So the imagination still can run wild. So like that child-esque inside of you can picture and see. Like I would to see a Death Star in space. Must be fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I can picture that.
Probably the last thing you see, too.
Well, it all depends on if, most likely I'd be on the dark side, and I've been saying that shit forever.
They have better outfits.
Yeah, well, I'm not wearing no stormtrooper, you know what I mean? Those slaves.
Who knows what you'd be wearing?
Yeah,
I think you'd be the gunner. I think you'd be one of the guys that shoot the laser. That has no backrest.
I think I would be like a clusterfuck of like a lot of different pieces of other things, like trying to look like the pirate of space. You know what I mean? Like
space pirate.
I took this off of one. Yeah, space pirate all day. Took this off of somebody. Took this off of somebody, and it's just like it's like Mad Max of space.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool. One day maybe.
Yeah. So that one was the first movie we went through. We actually had a full review on those. So definitely, especially if you want to know our full verdicts on these, definitely go back and watch our Not a Trekkie. Listen to our Not a Trekkie podcast. We actually have playlists on SoundCloud, and they're all available on Spotify. So if you want to listen to our verdicts there, we have them there. So
I think we give fair verdicts too.
Yeah.
So,
our next movie that was moving on, I think was the number 1 movie for quite some time throughout our whole verdicts of these movies, which was Empire Strikes Back. It's, again, like I said, there was a lot of things that still hold up. This was the first one that was not directed by George Lucas. It had a different director, and I
George Lucas didn't like it.
Yeah, he hated on it because it wasn't his movie,
and it was still to this day, like our opinion might be our opinion, but in the consensus of the world, Empire Strikes Back is still number 1.
It's still one of the top movies. A lot of people change it depending on what time you grew up and what you look for in a movie. But I don't speak for anyone else. I spoke for myself. This was number 1 for quite some time. This was the 1980s. This one came out. The other one was 1977. So
this one was like 81.
80.
80.
Yeah, 1980. And again, for a movie of its time, they took advantage of all like the claymation and the costume making and things like that.
It was a visually beautiful movie. Like they actually made it very well, and with the remastering technology of today, you know what I mean? It really made everything pop. You know what I mean? Like to put it into Blu-ray and unpixelate it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back is a beautiful movie.
Yes, it is. And it's the first movie that I've ever watched when I was a kid that the villains won.
Yeah, well,
that was a crazy thing. Like to actually have villains win. There was not a happy ending. It was a feeling of defeat within that world, and that was something I loved about it.
The fan favorite Han Solo got captured, got stabbed in the back by Lando Calrissian, and was frozen into carbonite for 2 years.
Yeah, he had to take a mean piss when he got it broken out.
I don't know why I did an English accent.
I don't know. I don't even know if that's a British accent.
I don't know. It's like Scottish with British and Irish.
If you're British,
together.
You might find this cast very offensive.
Really offensive. Well, fuck you.
Yeah. Right now, this is my number two movie on my list. Rogue One being number one, and again, well deserved. I think this movie. I think Empire Strikes Back in general is the Star Wars movie I watched the most of all these movies.
I agree with that one. I've probably seen that one and A New Hope.
It's between that and New Hope. Because I think I
always if I watch A New Hope, I always watch the second one.
Yeah, so I feel like I always watch those two. Like those two, I probably have watched the most.
Definitely, out of the original trilogy, I probably only seen Return of the Jedi probably a handful of times. You know what I mean? Well, now that I do it every year,
yeah,
you know what I mean? I'll watch them every year. It's kind of different now, but when I've purposely just turned on Empire Strikes Back. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I've purposely turned on A New Hope. I don't purposely turn on Return of the Jedi. Yeah. I just don't. I'm sorry.
We ended at 2. We know what happens in the third.
Exactly. I'm content with what happens in the third movie, but I felt out of the original trilogy that was the weakest one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that Darth Vader ended up becoming a little bitch at the end. He should have just stayed dead.
Yeah. And as we talk about Star Wars Return of the Jedi, that's the third movie we had reviewed. And yeah, I had the same feelings. Usually, you know what happens? Usually when the bad guy becomes good, they usually suck.
Yeah, well...
It happened with the Green Ranger. It happened with the White Ranger and Dino Thunder. Every time someone becomes good, they get nerfed.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're nerf herders at that time. Oh, shit, that's some Star Wars slang for you. But, yeah, no, I agree. But at the same time, I mean, I guess it was good for the story. Yeah. You know what I mean? With the way they were trying to do it. So, as much as I'm a hater of that, I get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I get that, technically, love kind of conquers all. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. Even though he fucking tried to kill his fucking son a million times. Sure. You know what I mean? He sliced his son's hand off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But out of the original 3, what was the things that you didn't like about them?
Return of the Jedi.
No, the story,
the whole movie, the whole movie in general.
Just the whole Return of the Jedi.
I did not like Return of the Jedi. I did not like that movie. The only thing I say that movie was good for was the ending, and that was it.
I personally didn't care for the whole Princess Leia being in tune with the Force and stuff like that, and they don't really go in depth with that, but the fact that fucking that Luke Skywalker has he's trying to he knows there's another one out there, and that Yoda fucking kills himself because he doesn't fucking shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? We lost a great Jedi master because this guy wouldn't shut up. You know what I mean? And because of that, that alone ruined the movie for me.
My issues with Return of the Jedi was, one, we had the self-proclaimed Jedi with Luke Skywalker.
I mean, he was pretty badass, a Mandalorian, though, bro.
Yeah, I feel like straight up that they made this as a product placement movie more than anything.
Yeah,
and they want to sell toys, they want to sell spaceships, they want to sell a little fuzzy ball of an animal creature and things like that they always have to have. And I feel like that was something that kind of annoyed me with that. The characters were just not as interesting as they were before, and it was just okay, I see where you're going with this. Okay, and I'm good with that.
And it's funny to me that in the world of Star Wars, one of the most beloved characters ever, which is Boba Fett, right? Boba Fett is probably one of the most popular characters in pop culture history.
I think
He didn't do shit. He fucking died. Like the beginning of the fucking movie.
So the thing that made Boba Fett a popular character was the comic book and his toy being so exclusive because I remember when it first came out,
because somebody choked on the
and then it got reissued, and then that figure itself, the one that got recalled, is worth a lot of fucking money.
Yeah, but I heard that's all a myth, that never actually happened. You know what I mean? There's such a a folk tale around this damn toy that nobody knows exactly what happened, because I remember watching Comic Book Men.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they were like, yo, they never actually released that one.
Yeah.
You know, at that time. You know what I mean? So like that negates everything that everybody said about somebody being choked on about the fucking that piece.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that wasn't released at the time of those toys.
Yeah.
Because then you would have made up that character before the movie even started.
Yeah.
Before he was introduced. Which does kind of make sense if in a way, because the Millennium Falcon was made before the movie even was made.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they sort of based that off of that.
Yeah. 100%.
So maybe they just created side characters.
Yeah.
And that was the one that choked a little kid or something. I don't know, but I remember on Toys That Made Us, they mentioned something like that.
Yeah, they're like, yo, let's take it off.
Which, wasn't that the first episode of the Toys That Made Us?
Yeah, Star Wars. No, it was the 4th episode.
I thought it was the first.
Nah, I think the first one was He-Man.
He-Man Masters of the Universe?
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt like G.I. Joe would have been further up over He-Man.
Nah, He-Man was very big for his time.
Yeah, shouts out to the fucking new line, man. The new line of those toys is fucking pretty badass.
They're pretty dope.
I know. I bought them for Santana. Shouts out to Santana.
Yeah. Did you watch? Did you see like the Black Series, the classics that are coming out with Star Wars and shit?
Yeah,
they're ridiculous.
They are actually awesome. Yo, man, I remember I was at Comic-Con, and I still got pictures of this on my phone. I went to Comic-Con like 3-4 years ago, and they have the line, like the Kenner line of Boba Fett, but Boba Fett is a homosexual, and he's pink. So he's like gay Boba Fett, and it was like gay. I don't like to say gay, but like homosexual stormtroopers and stuff like that. Those were fucking really dope. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure they were like $150 for those little figures. Yeah. They are probably so much money now, but yeah, no, those the blacked out ones they're awesome. I was just at Target today.
Yeah,
I saw them.
They have some cool stuff.
I want to buy them, but I don't want to dive down into that.
That's a hole that you don't want to get into, because
I already told you I wanted to dive back into going the old school route, and then I looked at myself and I looked at my bank account, and then Hasbro took so much money from me for my pre-orders.
Hasbro reminded you.
Hasbro was like, "Pump your brakes, Mo. You know where your money's going."
Yeah.
But Hasbro was killing it. So
I would say, like, if I would do a Star Wars, like a little Star Wars collection, I think I would go for the vintage ones, the slightly smaller ones, the 3-inch ones that kind of they're like the same style as the Marvel Legends, but they're 3 inches. I would go for those and just get each individual characters
that you like anyway.
Yeah,
you're not gonna get fucking Jar Jar Binks. You know what I mean?
Like I think I'll do that.
I don't know anybody on this planet that would want a Jar Jar Binks.
I think that's what I'll do. But I think I'll start with the Mandalorian stuff first.
Well, yeah, we do what nowadays and what's badass of nowadays. You know what I mean? Like,
because I have that Mandalorian coming in, so that was,
what's his face? The blind guy from Rogue One. If they had one of him, I'd buy one.
I have his pop.
He's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I have his pop. I got his pop when it first came out.
Rightfully so, man, because he was a great character.
Yeah. Moving on, so that was the first trilogy. Still, for a trilogy, I still say it holds up, but the third movie is kind of like iffy. But the first two are fantastic, and they're classic movies. And honestly, if you want to get someone into the Star Wars movies, those are the two. You
automatically have to jump there.
Yeah, those are the two. You
do not start with the prequels. Like, I hate people when they're like I get the Marvel Universe. Everybody's like, all right, let's start off with Captain America. No, don't start off with Captain America. Start off with Iron Man. You know what I mean? And then go down the lines because the after credit scenes are what brings you to the next one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That is where that lies with that. When it comes to Star Wars, do not start with 1, 2, and 3. Do not do it. You're going to ruin your appetite for Star Wars. You definitely are.
Especially if we watch the prequels first.
Yes. Oh my God.
If I had watched the prequels first, I would have hated this fucking movie.
Well, I might have to make you watch them again. I don't know.
I'm good. I'm not gonna watch these movies for quite some time.
You know what? You watched them again?
You know the thing again, especially for people that are not fans of Star Wars. So like Minion, shout outs to Joshi. He is not a Star Wars fan. He never liked the movies. He never got into any of them. He watched the original ones. He hated them. He watched the prequels. He did not like them. So I was like, you know what? I was like, yo, try Mandalorian. You might like Mandalorian. I was like, 1, the plot is very simple. 2, the characters are great. 3, it's more of a Western than an actual Star Wars movie. It is
actually more of a Western.
Yeah.
It's crazy that you say that because I felt the same way. He's like Clint Eastwood of fucking Star Wars.
Yeah. So I was just like, watch that because 1, the plot's simple. You don't need to know the whole everything that's going on around them. And if not, they tell you what's happening. So
Until the second season, I feel like the second season.
No, not really, because they explain everything. They have a good way of explaining things to everyone. So it keeps you up to date to what's going on. So you'll get the gist of it, and then that's where you'll be like, huh. So that happened here? Okay, I'll go check that out. If that happened here, I'm going to go check that out. And that's where you could branch off from other things. But I think Mandalorian, I was like, Mandalorian, I think you're going to enjoy. It's fun characters, fun little story. It has some comedy, it has some action. It has a little bit of everything in them. And he's been loving Mandalorian. So there you go. Mandalorian.
I know a lot of people who've never seen a single thing, never cared to see a single thing. Like with Joshi, he probably seen some of it and it was just like, this shit's trash. You know what I mean? Where I know people that never, ever thought in a million years they'd ever watch anything branded Star Wars. Yeah. And then dragged them in because of Baby Yoda and now are fans of something of the Star Wars universe. Yeah, you know what I mean? The cuteness of Baby Yoda. Women right now who never cared about any of that crap is watching that show simply because of that character. And shouts out to Jon Favreau for them and his team for creating a pretty cute fucking, like, I'm even awed, you know what I mean, when I see him. So
I'm excited to see where Mandalorian season 3 goes, and when we get into those casts, we're actually gonna go through Mandalorian after.
Oh, I can't wait,
shoot
man!
The shit. So Mandalorian will be our next cast, season 1. So we're gonna go really deep into that, and I'm very excited to watch that again.
I might have to watch it a couple times, just to.
Now we're gonna go into this is where I'll say this is the area where you could have lost or gained fans. I feel like you lost depending on how much you love the series. This is where you lost or love or regained to love because a lot of the new generation is the one. These are the ones.
Yeah, my theory on it is you lost a lot of the old generation with these.
Yeah.
The new generation at this time, like millennials, you know what I mean? Like, unfortunately, we're millennials, and I hate to use that word.
We are considered.
You know what I mean? Because then there's Generation X, and then there's all
Yeah.
that stupid fucking.
Yeah, Generation X stops at 80.
Yeah, so we're born in the 80s. We're 90s kids. So heading into it, now I didn't care about it at all, but there was a craze around me. You know what I mean? And I've mentioned this in the cast. I remember seeing my boy Matty at Kmart hunting down toys. He had the hunter's eye. I know now what that means and feels because that's what I do on a daily basis. Yeah. You know what I mean? So for a kid in the mid 90s, about to hit the 2000s, you know what I mean? Like, it was a big thing.
Yeah.
I think. You know what I mean? Because it was something that their father and grandfather took them to the movies to go see.
1999 started with Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. We starting going through the prequels. And I have a lot to say on this movie. And I'm sorry to everyone that's a fan of this movie, but I will say this directly. This did not have to be a movie. If we go to our past cast and the verdict that we did for this movie, I honestly said this did not have to be, because the way you have the space between this and episode 2, this didn't make sense. You didn't really need this. Like because the fact that episode 2 explains enough of what was going on, you did not need this movie. This was just a toy grab, a money grab, and you get to see Liam Neeson as a Jedi, and that's where you got out of
and
this.
And it's the only movie that you really see Liam Neeson actually get killed in.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Pretty much.
But you know what? And now thinking about episode 1, the whole basis of episode 1 is to show that Anakin Skywalker and his love for wanting to be a pilot.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And starting up and egging on, you know what I mean, his love for Queen Amidala.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, now, if you think back in all the Star Wars movies, was Darth Vader really all that of a fucking pilot?
Well, he did fly.
I mean, you've seen him a couple times.
Yeah, he did fly stuff, and he was actually.
But now in the prequels,
he was also the one that was killing motherfuckers off when he was flying.
Well, yeah, I mean, so was a lot of people. You know what I mean?
But he was like the main one. Like they would destroy the other two that was with him.
A lot of them had like stormtrooper helmets on. Stormtroopers can't shoot for shit.
So he's the greatest one out of the stormtroopers.
Okay, well, you know, considering maybe the talent that was out there, I don't know. But in the prequels, was he flying around kicking ass in the prequels?
He had that one moment as a kid in the gunner.
But I don't recall him ever really getting into like dramatic. Like he's been in a couple in the second one in Attack of the Clones. Yeah. I remember in the beginning.
Yeah.
But that was it, and then it drove down into the lines of Amidala and his fear of losing her.
Yeah.
And that consumed that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't recall him actually fucking really fighting like that.
Not me either.
You know what I mean? But then there is, you know, because in A New Hope, you know, his father was supposed to be the greatest fighter pilot ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I don't know.
They lied to him.
I just thought about that now because it's just weird because that's what the basis of the first movie's about.
Why parents be lying to your kids?
Parents just don't understand.
Yeah. But yeah, we got episode 1. We got the first appearance of Darth Maul, which he was a pretty badass looking character.
That's the most unutilized character ever. Ever. At least we got to see him in Solo for a second.
Yeah. So
fuck the shit out of me, man. I love Darth Maul too.
You had the pod racers, which kind of launched a good game off of it, but other than that, like I didn't really care. Episode 1, it was like just one that honestly is probably the Star Wars movie I at least remember because I just don't care about it.
Well, it also showed that the Council of Jedi was skeptical of him from the beginning.
Everyone, they were skeptical of him throughout the whole series, though. You didn't need that first movie to say, like, I don't trust that motherfucker.
They were like, fuck him, but Quan was like, no, he's the one. He's the prophet. He's the chosen one.
And look what happened to Quan. He died.
But it wasn't because of him.
A little bit. I blame him a little bit.
I blame him fully, but he had nothing to do with it.
I blame him
Darth Maul didn't want, you know, fucking Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then we move on to Star Wars Attack of the Clones.
I felt like, one more thing. I felt like besides the racing scene, because the racing scene was badass.
Yeah, it really was. It was fun. And it made a good game out of it.
Besides, it was like just like a filler episode. You know what I mean? It was just like, let's just fill it in. You know what I mean? It's like, let's give the reason why Attack of the Clones starts getting better. You know what I mean? Now, it's not the greatest.
No.
Don't get me wrong. But that leads up. So it's like all the filler of Anakin Skywalker and all his fears. So now we know where we're at when he grows up. Yeah. You know what I mean? His love for Amidala, his fear of losing his, you know, once he loses his mom, he has to go back. Like, why didn't you fucking save her a while ago?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But continue, my bad.
Yeah, so this was the next movie. Pretty much we saw the making of the Clone Wars, the clone stormtroopers based off of Jango Fett. We get introduced to Jango Fett in this one. Again, you get Mace Windu with the first ever purple lightsaber, Yoda in full action in this movie. It was actually cool to see Yoda fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as it was CG'd out.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, Count Dooku, which was the main villain. You had General Grievous as one of the villains in this movie as
He's
well.
the best character, bro. he was like real. He was a real android. You know what I mean?
He got to stop smoking.
Yeah, man, fucking vaping, smoking. That weed was legal over there. You know what I mean?
But it was a alright movie. I felt like that movie was just dragged too long. Other than that, it made sense for where it was going. But I think this was a movie that could have easily been the first movie moving into things.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
And then you could have had that third movie as a Vader movie. But
yeah, like him and the starting of being Vader.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That would have been such the better route. And if we can go back in time and fucking talk to Lucas, man, that should have been the route.
Take his lunch.
But you know, this one really boiled down to, you know, Anakin's insecurities and stuff like that, and what really strung him out. Because it's like, the dark side really turned him into like a fiend. You know what I mean? Like the thought of losing Amidala and losing his mom and doing all this really fucking toyed with his emotions.
And became a little bitch.
Which is the main reason why he became who he became ultimately.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this is definitely where it should have started off.
Yeah.
We could have had a small little recap. I hated that little shit that fucking played Anakin. I hated him.
Yeah.
Go back to Jingle All the Way, buddy. All right?
And then the last movie of this prequels was the Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, which I say was the better movie of the three.
And probably has one of the best scenes, top 5 best scenes in Star Wars, I'd say. Is the making of Darth Vader. That last scene, as much as it was CG'd out, it was really dramatic. I just didn't like how it went from Anakin's voice to James Earl Jones in a matter of seconds. You know what I mean? No! Shut up, you little bit. And I'm pretty sure that's one of his last dying words in fucking Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
No! Which was added in by Lucas himself, because that's not part of the original.
Yeah.
He doesn't actually say nothing. He just picks up the Emperor and throws him in.
So Revenge of the Sith was just pretty much Anakin being a jealous and envious, and him
ultimately
the dark
leads. And ultimately, the motto, the theme of that is that the one thing that he feared, he created himself.
Yep.
He made it happen. The things that he feared. Amidala just ended up dying because of his ass.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
He did it to himself.
He did it to himself. He was his own worst enemy.
And you listen to an old man that pat you in the butt.
Yeah, and that fucking guy. Fucking Emperor Palpatine. At least Palpatine was consistent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, at least he was consistent.
Yeah.
Like, even in the first one, he played his role until the Wizard of Oz came behind the fucking curtains, and he was more than that. You know what I mean? Like, he was fucking badass.
Yeah. And then last but not least, we have the Disney trilogy, starting with Force Awakens. My issue and my biggest issue was with Force Awakens. It was pretty much A New Hope 2.0. With just instead of Obi-Wan passing away, it was Han Solo.
Which was really dramatic, man.
It was dramatic.
But it was the last time that we got to see all of them together on a screen again, though.
Yeah.
So it was bittersweet at the same time, because then they ended up passing away in real life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Started off with R2-D2. I think R2-D2 died, and then Princess Leia died. Then Mayhew died.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It started that chain effect that, you know, for nostalgic purposes, to see them back on screen again together after 40 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it was triumphant on that. And I got a sort of a different feel, and because I enjoy it, because this is like the first movie that I actually got to see in the theaters and stuff like that, and I thought it was visually beautiful, and I get it. I do get it that, you know, they're ushering in an old story to a new generation with with new characters and stuff like that, and a new plot twist. So I do get that, and I'm not entirely mad as much as you are about it, because
No, cause I like the movie. It was just a repeat of Force Awakens. I'm just saying it like it is. It was a remake of Force Awakens. New Hope. And the funny shit is, you also had that one-up character that was supposed to be popular and then died really fast.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Captain Plasma, or whatever her fucking name is.
Yeah, well, she died in the second one.
She died in the second one, but she appeared once and then she fought and died in the second one.
Yeah, well, that was more of Game of Thrones fucking playoff.
No, that was their Boba Fett, pretty much.
She was trash, man. She did nothing to me. She had nothing. She just struck fear into people.
Boba did the same shit.
Yeah, but Boba Fett at least fucking, I don't know.
What, fell in a hole?
That was in the third movie, but he captured everybody, and he collected the bounty of Han Solo.
He captured everyone because of Vader. He didn't do it by himself.
He relayed the message. He was the one hiding in the rocks. He hid in the rocks, all right?
Boba Fett, the only thing Boba Fett did cool was Mandalorian, and we know it.
Yeah, and he definitely did kick ass, though.
Yeah, this one brought in new characters as Rey. We got Finn, we got Poe, we got Kylo Ren, which was
Kylo Ren I like a lot. Kylo Ren, he deserves a nod.
He did good. I give him credit where credit's due. And I
think he was the best character in the whole movie.
Yeah, I think he did a good job. I wanted more for Finn. They started off good, and then just.
Oh, I never wanted anything for Finn, bro.
I never wanted for Finn. I liked him in the first movie.
Finn.
I liked the Finn in the first movie.
I hated him and Rey's fucking friendship. I hated it from the jump.
Yeah. And then Return of Luke Skywalker on a mountain. And all.
On a mountain. It was an island, bro.
A mountain. It was
a mountain.
It was a mountain island. It was a mountain.
Now, if it's just one peak, is it a mountain or is it a mount or a hill? What would that be?
It was
what is a singular version of a mountain?
It was a mount. It was a mountain because it did have other peaks in it. It was not just one. It was like a big ass island and a big mountain. So it was big. It was a mountain that they were on.
But one thing this movie really did have is the dog fights. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like the fighting scenes, like they were dope.
No, they did a good job with them.
It was visually nice. Even the opening scene, just with the shadows and the silhouettes of the stormtroopers. Like, come on, like that really, cinematicness or the whatever word I'm looking for. But like it worked like that. It was visually beautiful. Yeah. All three of these movies was visually beautiful. You cannot knock any of that.
And then we're gonna go to the next one, Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
Second to worst movie in the entire Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
Arguably could be, actually no, it's definitely second to worst because Phantom Menace is probably the worst one. Definitely.
Yeah, I think Phantom Menace, what hurts it is if, like I said, just the plot of the movie and the whole story based on of it. They kind of explained it too that they just didn't need it. They needed to make a video game of it, and that's all. That was the point of that movie.
Yeah.
Well, this one, it was another one. It was just it just failed on a lot of things. It was just weird seeing.
It just wasn't consistent with the first one.
Like Luke Skywalker just pop a nipple and drink water, drink milk and shit. It was just like nasty shit, man. I was like, what the fuck?
But they tried to overly nod to the other movies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what they drank on fucking Tatooine.
They just pop nipples and drink milk.
It's like it's a little bitter, but you get used to it.
They destroyed Finn's character in this movie. I think this is
good. He fucking sucks. I hate him. I hate Finn. I always hated Finn.
I think Poe was one of my favorite characters in this. I think he was easily consistent throughout these movies. We got the return of Leia, and then Leia kind of showing that she had the Force in her and stuff like that. And they kind of really started showing it.
Yeah. This is really when like the connection of Kylo and Rey really start getting into depth, which I personally think is is the best part of this trilogy.
And then
I don't know. I really enjoy the interaction and the growth between them two.
And then we have Snoke.
Really do. I know. If you guys could see this man's face right now.
We had Snoke. Snoke in his big ass pimp pajamas, just.
Snoke in his cloak.
I hated this movie. I really did.
Yeah, but the more and more I listen to you bash it, I agree. I agree. But your gripes of it is not. It doesn't take away from me the interaction between Kylo and Rey, because ultimately within the next movie is like the ultimate outcome ever. Yeah. And I think The Rise of Skywalker is definitely the best one out of this trilogy.
Yeah, I think I agree with you with that one. Did I put it higher?
I what?
I'm trying to see if I put it higher than Rise of Skywalker.
What?
I'm trying to see because I have my list of movies, and I think
I was bank off of what you say, and then I either agree or I don't.
Yeah. No, because I actually have rankings. I actually have our rankings.
Yeah, I have one thing that's different than yours.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's your ranking of Rise of Skywalker.
Where do I have it?
You have it.
It's funny how I got to ask you that.
You have that at number 4.
Number 4? Because that's the number that I had in my head.
Yeah. Mine's is 6.
Well, I mean, to each his own, of course.
Yeah,
but Rise of Skywalker, once again, fucking flopped Finn. You know what I mean? As much as I hated Finn, there's a side of me that rooted for him a little bit because, it's kind of the ultimate tale of, like you're programmed as a kid to be one kind of way.
Yeah.
And then you have this feeling like that's not me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I'm pretty sure a lot of people on this planet can agree and see themselves in that. Kid was kidnapped and raised as a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And in his first battle, got scared shitless and decided to run away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, it really does show, like, the humanity and, like, the human race sort of in that sense of that story.
Yeah.
But fuck Finn. They fucking ruined him again. Go back to Attack the Block 2, buddy. All right?
Yeah.
But, overall, with Emperor Palpatine and stuff like that, him coming back, all that dramaticness, I thought it was a really good movie, personally.
Yeah.
And the one thing that Kylo Ren was chasing was he wanted to be better than his grandfather.
Yeah.
And he ended up being better than his grandfather because Anakin Skywalker, his flaw and his flop was that he didn't want Princess Amidala to die. So he wanted to learn the dark side of the Force so he could stop people from dying. He wasn't able to do that. Kylo Ren did that. Yeah. Kylo Ren brought Rey back to life, and that makes him the best Jedi ever in the history of Jedis. Not necessarily my favorite Jedi, but that makes him the strongest Jedi because he actually did it.
But Rey lived and he died.
Rey got brought back to life by him.
Exactly.
She would have been dead.
So now she's the strongest.
She's the only one left.
Exactly, which means her the strongest.
But you know what I mean, like for her to No, I get it. I'm so passionate about that because that is the real truth of it. You know what I mean? Like I guarantee you that went over 1 million people's heads.
Yeah. I also
nobody.
Like
you know what I mean? Like I loved when Rey, I am one with the Force is with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and then you heard all the voices of all the Jedis throughout
that's
time.
What I was about to say. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that was an epic scene. And they actually had them. You know what I mean? They actually had every single Jedi.
Yeah. Yep. Even, I would love to see. Yeah, motherfucker. Samuel Jackson.
Well, no, he was in it.
He was in it. He was in it. I would like to say. Yeah,
I mean, they wrote down. They definitely have the list of everybody.
No, 100%, 100%. Mace Windu was in there. Everyone was in there. Yoda was in there. Luke Skywalker.
Both Obi-Wan Kenobis was in there.
Yeah, both Obis. The old man.
The one that's been dead since the fucking 80s.
Yeah, Quan Jinn was in there.
Quan Jinn, Yoda, fucking, those are the only ones that really matter.
Exactly, the main ones. Anyway, Disney did. I think they did a visually stunning trilogy. The movies didn't. I say the movies hit mixed reviews, but other than that, it was a fun and entertaining trilogy. I liked them better than the prequels, so I'll say that much.
I think they flopped on The Last Jedi and then tried to make up for it. So the inconsistency of story is there. It's 100%. It's blatantly obvious.
And there's also the fact that it was a tale of two directors, because then you had J.J. Abrams on the first 1 and 3, and then you had Rhea Johnson on the second one, I think it was.
I'm not really sure who directed it.
Yeah,
I just know that a Trekkie made a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, but then his Trekkie was more of a Star Wars movie than a Trekkie movie.
Yeah, well, not the JJ.
J.J. Abrams. And then we got our separate movies from the trilogy. These are the Star Wars story titled, which was Rogue One and Solo. Rogue One was, I'll say 100% again, it was by far my favorite Star Wars movie, period. I think it did everything right. I did think it told an amazing story. It showed different layers of characteristics of a lot of people. Not only people, but the aliens, and also like different religions, different beliefs, and the way that people believe in the Jedi and things like that. And those are the things that I found that were eye-opening. I think I had an amazing cast. I think it was acted really well. And there was so much things. It was a one-off story. You can't tell the story again. And I think they did an amazing job on it.
I truly 100% agree with every sentence that you said.
Yeah.
I will just tack on one extra thing to that. It was definitely the greatest scene at the end ever in Star Wars, is seeing Darth Vader actually move and whoop some real fucking ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that is the Vader that I wanted to see back in the day. You know what I mean? We didn't see that. We saw that as Anakin.
Yeah.
In the prequels. Yeah. We did not see that in the Darth Vader suit, because he was more animatronic. Fucking very still.
Yeah.
Choreographed.
Yeah.
Slow.
Yeah.
In the original ones. This one, fucking just badass. You know what I mean? And it was good to also see what the Death Star was capable of doing.
Yeah, 100%.
Firsthand.
Yeah.
And in different waves and different levels, because they weren't even maxed out.
Yeah.
They were at a certain percent.
Yeah.
Where it was just a tidal wave of planet coming at them.
And then shout outs to K2SO being one of my favorite droids besides R2D2.
Well, R2D2 is the most consistent character in all of Star Wars.
But K2
and if anybody doesn't agree with that, then you don't know shit. Go back and watch R2D2 save the day in every movie.
K2SO was hilarious. He was probably one of my favorite characters. And then I really love Donnie Yen's character in this movie. He was probably one of my favorite characters.
He was amazing, and he was a character that had no Force influence, no Jedi influence at all, but he really, like you were saying about religion and stuff like that. The Jedi, the Force is a religion.
Yeah.
It's a way of life. You know what I mean? It's sort of culty in a way, if you really want to look at it.
100%.
But he believed in it so much that, one, he was hilarious while he did it.
Yeah.
And two, it sort of worked for him. You know what I mean? Even though he wasn't that, I felt like the Force, because he believed in it so much, Force was there with him.
It maybe was. I think that was
it was his counterpart who fucking had his back the entire time.
You know what's crazy is that I have a feeling that was the purpose of his scenes, is the fact that it made you believe he had the Force with him throughout the scenes. Just the fact that, like, again, he was blind and he was still fucking up people. He was the
daredevil. He was the daredevil of fucking Star Wars, bro.
Pretty much. And I love this movie. It had like some of the most interesting characters, some of the most characteristics until Mandalorian, that I really enjoyed of a Star Wars movie. So Rogue One, I recommend everyone to watch Rogue One. Rogue One was fucking fantastic. And then we go into Solo.
Solo.
There was things I liked about this movie. I think, again, we talked about this on the last cast, which is up now on Not a Trekkie, and also the Spotify Red Cycle link and SoundCloud. Mike with the Mic. You can find our last episode of our Not a Trekkie, Solo's up, and then give us our verdict of that. Again, I think Woody Harrelson was probably my favorite character in this movie.
Oh, he was amazing. He was so good.
We did have a full, long discussion on that cast, so we don't really have to go that crazy into this one. But all I will say is that he told your ass from the beginning of the movie.
Don't trust nobody.
Yeah.
And listen to me. Listen to me. Don't trust nobody.
Exactly.
That's all you needed to do the whole time.
And then what did he do?
He didn't listen until the end. So now my major thing, and I said it in the cast, but I'd rather people go and check that cast out because it's the most recent one.
Yeah.
Everything else I'm comfortable going into depth with because it has been a little bit for our viewers.
Yeah.
And maybe we recapped how we felt and maybe grew different feelings as we went through the process.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But with this, if it wasn't Han Solo, it'd be an awesome movie.
Yeah, and I think the fact that he has the Han Solo name on it, we respect a certain style with Han Solo.
Yeah, I
think
expect fucking Harrison Ford, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, unfortunately, we can't have that. But I'm not saying the guy did a bad job.
Yeah.
He is just not Han Solo. That's it.
Yeah. All right.
That is just basically it.
Yeah.
If it was just a Star Wars story, it would be really good.
Yeah.
It'd be higher up on my list.
Yeah, I think so.
Because it is the third the third worst movie in the universe.
Third.
And it wasn't even that bad of a movie.
No, it wasn't that bad. I think if Luke's Han Solo's name was off of it, was a different character, I think we would like it a bit more. But we expect a certain style with Han Solo, and I think that's what we didn't get from that movie.
I did love Donald Glover, 100%.
Yeah,
Donald Glover, his mannerisms, his talking, he is definitely. I saw more of a young Lando Calrissian than I did a young Han Solo.
Yeah, I agree.
Donald Glover outshined him, and Woody Harrelson outshined him. How does your side characters outshine the main character?
Woody Harrelson outshines everybody, so.
Yeah, Woody Harrelson's the fucking man, bro. He's the fucking man.
Yeah, so we're gonna watch. Yeah, so those are our 11 movies we went through. A little shoot the shit with them, and in general ways of just running it down, saying what we love.
It's kind of sad. It's kind of sad that that they're done. And be honest with you. But I'm eager to now branch off onto the next part of the universes.
Yeah,
which is the shows. You know what I mean? And then hopefully by the time that we get past like Rebel Ones and Clone Wars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We'll have more material to go on. Because if not, we're diving into the motherfucking comic books, baby.
Yeah. You know, well, we're going to have a shitload of things coming. Because you have Andor, you have Ahsoka, you have
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan, Mandalorian Season 3, The Bad Bunch coming out. So there's a lot of stuff coming out with Star Wars and name in general. We probably we'll dabble in the comics because they are available on the Marvel app, so we probably go through those as well. There's a lot of stuff. We have a lot of stuff coming up. Our next cast will be the first season of Mandalorian, which I'm very excited. I'm
so excited, man.
I'm gonna see if Mike could put the Mandalorian theme as the theme song of it. So let's see where
maybe I can get my fucking brother to watch it now. He still hasn't watched a single episode of Mandalorian, bro.
I'm surprised. I'm very surprised.
No, he's doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
He's doing it on purpose. He said he wants to watch it when it's done and over with.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no end in sight right now,
yeah,
bro.
Season 3, what, you're going to wait till Season 3 finishes, which is like 2 years from now?
And then find out that we're going to have Season 4 after that? This might be a 10-series show.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it will.
Yeah.
But currently, if they don't mess it up, which I don't see Jon Favreau and his team doing that.
Yeah.
Because this is like his baby right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He had the access to the Marvel world, and he killed it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is his now. I think this is his. This is his Stanley Cup. This is his Super Bowl
Yeah, because
championship
right now
ring.
he is the Kevin Feige of Star Wars. So basically, what the position Kevin Feige has as MCU, John Favreau has as Star Wars. So he is recreating the world now, as we see with Star Wars, and
He is the future of Star
I'm looking
Wars,
forward
and
to it.
rightfully so.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
You
seeing
know
what
what I
he
mean?
does.
That's
What
I
I
am.
know is the Knights of the Old Republic might be the next trilogy. What I've been reading, and then there's a lot of things that are going on with that. So, I actually would love to see the Knights of the Old Republic. I think that storyline is fucking crazy. And
That's
to
a
do a lot of
graphic
things with
novel.
that. It was a novel back in the
Because
day.
I'm not too savvy in the comic book world of Star
So it
Wars.
was
I'm
a
not.
novel back in the day, which became a comic book, which actually has his own video game, which is getting remastered soon. So you actually probably could have experience with the game because the game was fantastic. It was probably like an RPG, action RPG. You create your own character and all like that, all shit like that. It was actually really good. But yeah, Knights of the Republic will be a very interesting take on the Star Wars series. There are novels, but I don't think they're gonna go really directly with the novels. Just some characters from it, and that's about it. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff we're gonna cover next
Yeah,
month.
man. The future looks fucking promising, bro.
Yeah,
And I don't think that they're gonna fucking block shit. I think that they're gonna put a lot into these.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
I hope so.
I feel like if they're gonna do a new trilogy of a movie, I feel like they knew and know what they did wrong with the Skywalker
Yeah,
trilogy, and I think that they're gonna probably do this
yeah.
better.
So we'll see.
You know what I mean?
So
So I'm hopeful. I'm definitely. It's a new hope for the future.
A New Hope.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I guess this will be it. This is our Shoot the Shit episode of all the movies we have went through. Those are 11 movies. If you actually want to listen to movies, I'll post it on our post with this. I also will post, we have a playlist of Not a Trekkie. If you want to listen to the past cast, this all will be together in a playlist on SoundCloud. So definitely check that out. And then again, next month, Mandalorian. We start watching Mandalorian this month. So I'm excited to watch it.
Immediately.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna wrap this up. This is Not a Trekkie. I am Mark the Mike. Follow me on all social medias as Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and SoundCloud. All Mark the Mike. Follow Red Cyclone Inc. on all the same things: Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter. They have a WordPress, they have a SoundCloud, and they have a YouTube channel. Definitely check it out. Also, Red Cyclone Inc. on Spotify. Easiest way to get our podcast. If you want the playlist, then you have to go to SoundCloud, put the playlist, Spotify, you can get all our casts on there.
Yes.
Follow Tenacious T. Just follow
Yes,
him.
you can follow me on Twitter at Tenacious T RC Inc. Trying to get a little bit more active on there. As soon as we get the ball rolling towards Mandalorian, I'm going to start posting all of our casts. Probably trying to get more interactive. I've been so anti-Twitter my whole life, but I understand the importance of social media when it comes to podcasting. So I'm going to be diving down into that. But you can also follow me on my own personal Instagram page at T_DA_tots. That's TOTS. Shout out to me on there. You can also follow my rock and roll debate page at debate_the_greats, where we come together and bring two artists or two bands or two instruments together and have a discussion of who was better, not to discredit, but to appreciate and to see the perspective of each person of what they like. So check that out. Always a shouts out to Game On, a retro video game store based out on Long Island. Stationed in two separate locations, one in Miller Place, one and the other one's in Smithtown, satisfying all your retro video game needs. Everything that you can think of in the retro video game world, it's there. You need Super Nintendo, you need GameCube, you need Dreamcast. It's there. They got games for it, they got plugs for it, they got figures, comic books. Whatever you want, they have. Shouts out to Tristan. Shouts out to Jay. They are a beacon in my community, and I love them to death. Shouts out to you guys. Always a shouts out to my boy Mike, a.k.a. Mike Wazowski, because without him, I would not have the love that I do for Star Wars. He forced me to go through it, and I've never looked back. And because of him, another shout out to my brother who, during the process of that, has been riding out with me every single year watching the movies. So shouts out to both of them.
Okay. Peace out, laters, and always remember...
Check our other casts.
Check our other casts. Follow our other casts, the Shell Shock. We have the Morphin Cast. We have the Gamer Rage Podcast. We also have It Gets Better, I Swear, and the Wrestling Babble Weekly Podcast. Definitely check them all out. We do a lot of work. Check them all out.
Yeah, please.
All right. Peace out, laters, and always remember, fuck Zordon, because...
Yeah, fuck Zordon.
And Jar Jar Binks.
Jar Jar Binks. Don't feed... Splinter doesn't get sashimi, and Jankies doesn't get a sandwich.
Damn. You heard it.
I know. I had to drop that one down there.